Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to take a little look at the leaked Officio Assassinorum stuff from the next White Dwarf. And it's supposed to be the next White Dwarf, but no, all of it is available right now. It's been leaked in, frankly, refreshingly good quality. Whoever took these pictures, they are using a camera from not even just this decade. It was made, at least not in the 1950s, unlike most of the cameras used to photograph this stuff, and they don't have any sort of issue with keeping their hands steady, so we can actually read what's happening. It's a nice, refreshing change. I would not complain if all leaks were this clear. So what we'll do is we'll just take a little look at what we've got. Essentially, you can take all of them in a Vanguard detachment, and if you do that, it can contain no HQ units, which is good because none of them are. If you do so, that detachment's command benefits are changed to none, unless that detachment contains exactly one Vindicare, one Callidus, one Eversor, and one, I always want to say Culexus, but I've been told it's Culexus, but it could be either, because these are all made up stupid words. So, either way, take your pick. I'll just switch randomly between the two as we go along, and equally annoy both camps of people who pronounce it either way. So they have a 4+ invulnerable save. They are all 85 points, and for the most part, they have a very similar stats range. In fact, it's exactly the same across most of them. There is a little bit of variation in terms of attacks, but apart from that, they are all movement 7 inches, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 5, leadership 9, and the save is 6+. The exceptions to that are the Vindicare, which has 5 attacks, and I think it's the Eversor has 6 wounds and 6 attacks, but the rest of the stats are the same pretty much all the way across. Callidus is 5 attacks as well. So let's start off with the Culexus. I'll just say both, why not? So as we say, 7-inch movement, weapon skill, but skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 5, attacks 4, leadership 9, and 6+ save. And it has its Animus Speculum, such a ridiculous, terrible name for a weapon. Range 18 inches, assault D3, strength 5, AP -4, and a 1 damage. Change this weapon's type to assault D6 while there are enemy psychers within 18 inches of the bearer. Excellent. And the Psych Out grenade, which is a range of 6 inches, and it's grenade D3, obviously. Strength 2, AP 0, damage 1, but each hit roll of 6+ for an attack made with this weapon inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target instead of the normal damage if the attack of the target is a psyker or demon. If the target of the attack. Same words, different order. And it has the following abilities. Abomination. This model can never be targeted or affected by psychic powers in any way, obviously. Psychers that are within 18 inches of any Culexus assassin must subtract 2 from psychic tests and deny the which test they take. Is that getting annoying yet? Don't worry, it's fine. We're nearly finished with this one, and they'll never have to hear me say that word ever again. Life Drain. Saving throws cannot be made for attacks made with the melee weapons by this model unless they are invulnerable saving throws. Ethereum. Attacks that target this model are resolved as if the attacking model had weapon skill and ballistic skill characteristic of 6+. And Psychic Assassin. Attacks made by this model can target a character that is a Psyker, even if it is not the closest enemy unit. In addition, this model can make an attack with its Psych Out grenade in the same phase that it uses its Animus Speculum. Lovely. Keywords are Imperium and Officio Assassinorum, which hilariously means that this will allow you, if you take Cypher with your Chaos army, to include assassins in that army, unless I'm very much mistaken, which is pretty funny. I hope I'm not mistaken, because that's kind of fun. So, Vindicare Assassin. There's the Exeter's Pistol, which is a 12-inch range. Pistol 1, strength 4, AP -3, damage D3. Invulnerable saves cannot be taken against attacks with this weapon. This weapon wounds infantry units on a 2+. Exeter's Rifle, 72-inch range. Heavy 1, strength 5, AP -3, D3 damage. Invulnerable saves cannot be taken against attacks again, and it wounds infantry on a 2+. Again. Blind Grenade, 12 inches, grenade D6, and this weapon does not inflict any damage. Instead, if a unit is hit by any blind grenade, subtract 1 from all hit rolls for attacks made by that unit until the end of the turn. Actually, not a huge penalty for literally blinding someone, but there you go. It has Dead Shot. This model can target a character even if it is not the closest enemy unit. In addition, each time a modified wound roll of 6 is made for an attack with a ranged weapon by this model, the damage for that attack is d6. Faultless Aim. If this model remains stationary in its previous movement phase, it always hits on a 2+ when firing a ranged weapon, regardless of modifiers. Hit rolls of 6 are still required when firing Overwatch. Headshot. After this model has made an attack with a ranged weapon, roll 1d6 if a model suffered damage from that attack but has not been slain. On a 3+, that model suffers 1 mortal wound, and if that model is not slain, you can roll 1 more d6. This time, that model suffers 1 mortal wound on a 4+. Keep rolling 1d6, increasing the result required to cause a mortal wound by 1 each time until the model being rolled for is slain or the roll is failed. Bit of exploding d6 mechanic kind of there. I like that. Spy Mask. Enemy models do not gain the bonus to their saving throws for being in cover against attacks made with ranged weapons by this model, and Stealth Suit. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with ranged weapons that target this model. If this model is on or in a terrain feature, subtract 2 instead. Now, some of this will be the same as what they currently have, obviously. Callidus Assassin. Again, same stat line, but wounds 5, attacks 5. Callidus Assassin has a Neural Shredder, which is a range of 9 inches, assault 1, roll 3d6 each time this weapon scores a hit. If the roll is equal to or greater than the target unit's highest leadership characteristic, it suffers d3 mortal wounds. Phase Sword is melee, obviously, is a sword. Strength User, -3 AP and 2 damage. Invulnerable saves cannot be taken against attacks made with this weapon. And Poison Blades, which is -1 to AP and 1 damage. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. This weapon wounds on a 3+, unless it is targeting a vehicle, in which case it wounds on a 6+. There's a little bit of glare on this, which makes it a little bit more tricky to see, but it's still actually visible, which again, makes a nice change. Polymorphine. During deployment, you can set up this model in disguise instead of setting it up on the battlefield. At the end of your movement phases, this model can revert to its true form, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than d6 plus 3 inches away from any enemy models. For example, if you roll 4, the model can set up anywhere that is more than 7 inches from any enemy model. Hit and Run. This model can fall back and still shoot and charge in the same turn. And Reign of Confusion. If you have any models with this ability in your army, then during the first battle round, roll 1d6 each time your opponent spends command points to use the stratagem. On a 4+, your opponent must spend 1 extra command point to use that stratagem, or else it has no effect. This ability cannot affect stratagems used before the battle begins. Oh yeah, the command points spent so far are lost. Nice. Excellent. Christ. And finally, the Eversor Assassin. Again, same stat line, but wound 6 and attack 6. And the Eversor has an Executioner pistol with a range of 12 inches. Pistol 4, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1. You can reroll wound rolls for attacks made with this weapon that target infantry units. The Neuro Gauntlet, which is a melee weapon, +1 to strength, -1 AP, and 1 damage. You can reroll wound rolls for attacks made with this weapon. Power Sword is just a power sword. User AP -3, damage 1. And Melter Bomb 4 inches, which is a grenade 1, strength 8, AP -4, d6 damage. You can reroll wound rolls for attacks made with this weapon that target vehicle units. There is also Bio Meltdown. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6 for each enemy unit that was within 6 inches of this model before removing it from the battlefield. On a 4+, the enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. I love that. Sentinel Array. Each time an enemy unit falls back whilst within 1 inch of this model can immediately make a shooting attack against that enemy unit as if it were a shooting phase. Friendzone. When making a charge roll for this model, roll 3d6 rather than 2d6. In addition, add 2 to this model's attacks characteristic if it charged in the preceding charge phase. Oh, Eversors are fun. Killing Rampage. Each time an enemy model is slain as a result of an attack made with a melee weapon by this model can immediately make 1 additional attack against the same unit. These additional attacks cannot themselves generate further attacks. Boo, even though that would be ridiculous. In addition, this model can consolidate up to 6 inches instead of up to 3 inches. Okay, we also have, I love Eversors, they're so daft. We also have a veritable shed load of stratagems. So we have, although annoyingly, on a couple of them, in fact, I think it might just be one. Yeah, no, there's a couple where we don't know what the what the command point cost is, because it's just cut off in the picture, which is annoying, but there you go. So, a couple of Vindicare stratagems to start us off. Double kill. Striking from the perfect vantage point, Vindicare assassins have been known to fell a second foe before the body of the first has even hit the floor. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. After a Vindicare assassin from your army shoots, that model can shoot one additional time this phase. Must be at a different target. There is also the Turbo Penetrator round. Sounds a bit Slanesh if you ask me. And that is ripping through even the densest flesh or armour before detonating. This special ammunition is the bane of vehicles and monstrous beasts alike. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase after an attack made with an Exodus pistol or Exodus rifle by a Vindicare assassin from your army scores a hit against a target that is either a vehicle or a monster. Do not make a wound roll for that attack. Instead, that hit inflicts D3 mortal wounds on the target. If this stratagem is used, then the headshot ability does not apply to that attack. That's a pity. Again, though, that would be silly, but I'd still love it. No idea what the command point value is for those. Maybe 1 on the Turbo Penetrator round? Possibly? It's really hard to tell. It's just cut off, so... There is also some just general Officio Assassinorum stratagems. So Operative Requisition Sanctioned, for instance, 1 command point or 3 command points. The ultimate fusion of stealth and lethality. An Operative of the Officio Assassinorum is a great asset to any Imperial commander. This stratagem costs 1 command point if you're playing a match play game, or 3 command points otherwise. Interesting. You can only use this stratagem if your warlord has the Imperium keyword. Use this stratagem during deployment. Add 1 Officio Assassinorum unit of your choice to your army. Remember that in a match play game, you must pay reinforcement points for any new unit added to your army. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. And there is also Priority Threat Neutralize, which is just 1 command point. Shorn of their commanders, the enemy's tactical advantages will often crumble. Use this stratagem after an enemy character or model is slain by an Officio Assassinorum unit from your army. Christ. You gain 2 command points or 3 command points if the character was your opponent's warlord. You can only use this stratagem once for each enemy character model slain. I actually really like that. That's fun. A couple of Eversor stratagems. Again, no idea even what the first one is called on this one. Dangerous levels of... It's something to do with friends and probably overload? Friends and overload, frenzied overload. It's something overload. Let's be clear about that. It's definitely something overload up there. Dangerous levels of frenzy flood the Eversor system, triggering a frenetic killing spree. Use this stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Choose 1 Eversor assassin from your army to fight with, even if that model has already fought in this phase. After that model has fought, roll 1d6. On a 1, 2, or 3, it suffers 1 mortal wound. Fair enough. And for 1 command point, there is Hypermetabolism. Chemically augmented in the extreme, the bodies of Eversor assassins can weather injuries that would otherwise prove fatal. Use this stratagem at the start of any phase. Choose 1 Eversor assassin from your army. Until the end of that phase, roll 1d6 each time that model loses a wound. Excluding those lost as a result of a mortal wound, on a 4+, the wound is not lost. Yeah, okay. We also have the Culexus Relexus. 1 command point, Pariah's Gaze. The pure negativity of a Culexus assassin's soulless presence is focused through their wargear. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase before choosing assassin to shoot with. I thought I'd give you a break. Until the end of the phase, the damage characteristic of that model's ranged weapons is increased to D3. Tasty. Oh hey, it's actually Stim Overload. Look at that. I just had these in the wrong order. Well done me. Anyway, let's just brush past that. Callidus stratagems. There is, for 1 command point, Acrobatic. Use this stratagem in your movement phase. Choose 1 Callidus assassin from your army. That model can advance and charge this turn. In addition, until the start of the next battle round, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target the chosen model. Nice. And then for 2 command points, Supreme Deception. Use this stratagem at the start of any battle round. After the first, choose 1 Callidus assassin from your army. That model's Reign of Confusion ability is considered to be in effect until the end of that battle round. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. I like that, and yes, you should only be able to use that once per battle. That's ridiculous. And finally, there is Soul Horror, which is another of the other stratagems. I'm sparing you the pronunciation, the terrible pronunciation. 2 command points. Use this stratagem at the start of the fight phase. Choose 1 assassin from your army. Enemy units within 3 inches of that model cannot be chosen to fight this phase until after all other units have done so, even if they charged. If one of those units has an ability that allows them to fight this phase, they instead fight in this phase as if they did not have that ability. I really like that. That's really fun. That's really cool. So that is the new assassin stuff from the next White Dwarf, conveniently leaked in readable format by some kind person. To be honest, 85 points each feels pretty fair. I'd be interested to hear what you think about the value of these guys, whether you think they're going to be worth taking or not. The ability to take them in a Vanguard detachment, and you do lose the command point from it unless you've got all 4, unless I've misread that. I don't know, I quite like it. I like these. They feel pretty fun. They feel as they should. The Eversor especially looks like a lot of fun. The Vindicare actually looks pretty useful. The Eversor, I think, looks the most fun out of the 4. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear what you think. Let me know what you make of these in the comments. Will you start using them? Have you already been using them? Are they actually that different from the previous incarnation? Or do they look a lot more useful now? Let me know what you think in the comments. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click it if you don't want to. And I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.